everybody. Here we are ready for round 3. I'm going to play first, and I'm going to keep. Let's hope that this round might be a little bit faster than last round. No Platinum Imperiums coming out. I will play a Swamp and say go. So I'm on the play, so that means I play on turn 3. Down goes a mountain, and I say go. His 2-drop is so good. Magic Online froze. There we go. What was it? It was Stun Sniper, a 1/1 where he can pay 1 to deal damage to a creature and tap it. Well, that's decent. He has to pay 1, which isn't great, but it's okay. It will let him ping any good X1s that I get. So my 3-drop is Porcelain Legionnaire, a 3/1 first strike. Well, that might be pingable. Yeah, he's going to do it. Which I'm okay with, because that means that he's going to just get a 2-drop. He gets a Doorkeeper, an 0/4. Not great. He's probably not going to spend 3 a turn to mill me 1. So I'm pretty okay with that. That buys me some tempo. So I get a 4-drop. Well, he just has 2 2-drops. I get Mogus. That's pretty decent, because he's not going to be really removing that anyway. He's going to have to take 2 a turn, otherwise sacrifice a creature. I'm pretty okay with getting Mogus on turn 4. No blockers, but oh well. Ooh, Odric's a good pick. 3/4 first strike. If 3 creatures plus him, or if just 3 creatures? 3 creatures plus him attack, then he gets to choose how blocks happen. Pretty decent, but I'm still okay with Mogus. He's going to have stuff that he can sack when he needs to, though. He can sack Doorkeeper pretty easily. So Primal Whisperer is a 2/2. If there were face-down cards, which there are not going to be, he would be a 4/4, but he is just a 2/2. So he's going to take another 2. He's going to get in for 3 with Odric here. What's he get? Siege Gang Commander. 3 1/1 Goblins. Wow, that's going to give him a whole lot of sacrificial things for Mogus. So maybe Mogus isn't that good. Not when he gets things like that out. What do I get for a 6-drop? I get Cyclops of Eternal Fury. 5/3 haste, and all of my other creatures get haste. I will just keep him around, I guess. Of course, with those goblins now, he can start attacking in with Odric and just commanding combat. He can attack in, he can kill my Cyclops, he can not kill my Primal Whisperer. I'll assume he'll just let the other guys all come through for 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go to 18. Oh, he is going to trade. Okay, sure. It's going to eventually make his Odric harder to use. I wouldn't have done that. Six drop is Vein Drinker. 4/4 flyer. Pay a red, deals damage equal to its power to target creature. That creature, so it fights. Whenever a creature dealt damage dies, put a +1/+1 counter. That's pretty good. For 1 red, that's really good. What do we get for a 7-drop? I feel like we're pretty behind here. We get Archangel of Strife, a 6/6 flyer. As it enters the battlefield, each player chooses War or Peace. Creatures controlled by players who choose War get +3/+0. People who chose Peace get +0/+3. I'm going to pick Peace. Make that a 6/9. So he can still control combat here, unfortunately. Meaning he can swing in for 10, 14, 18, Well, he could swing in for lethal here, actually. He can just choose that I'm not going to block. So, unfortunately, that's game. Odric is a really good card to hit. What is he? He's a 4-drop? Yeah, his Odric beats my Mogus for sure. So that was a very quick game. We'll see if game 2 can be a bit better here. I was pretty happy seeing Mogus, but I think Odric definitely trumps it. It would have been a bit harder for him to do if he hadn't have gotten that Goblin that got him 3 extra 1/1s, but getting Odric down still was kind of almost inevitability. Alright, so we're going to play first. We're going to go Mountain and pass. We're going to go Swamp and pass. What's his 2-drop? Come on, Doorkeeper. His 2-drop is a Goblin Raider, 2/2 that can't block. It's alright. What do I get for 3? For 3, I get Gutter Snipe. That does nothing. It's a 2/2 that if I cast an instant or sorcery, I would get to shock basically a creature or a player. No, just the player. But I'm obviously not going to be casting instants or sorceries, so I think I'm just going to trade and keep us on an equal footing here. For 3, he gets Bloodhusk Ritualist. Enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card for each time it was kicked. Ah, well, obviously it wasn't kicked. So that's just a 2/2 for 3. Same thing that I had. For 4, I'm going to get out a Living Airship. It's a 2/3 flyer. So it's going to block his Ritualist at least, and it can get in for 2 in the air. And I can pay 2 in green to regenerate it, but I probably won't be doing that. So he's not going to attack here. He's just going to drop a 4-drop, which is Soul Devi Golem. 5/3 doesn't on-tap. During your on-tap step, you may on-tap target tapped creature an opponent controls. Okay, so he can on-tap one of my creatures to on-tap his creature. He is going to get in for a free 5 with it. But at that point, until I attack with something, he's not going to attack with it again. Wouldn't mind something with First Strike. Keepsake Gorgon is a pretty good card to have. I would even consider monstrosity it at some point. I think I'll just take the 5 from the Golem here to keep up the Keepsake Gorgon. So depending on where I am, I may even have to consider at some point taking a turn off from a creature to monstrosity that. Exile all artifact and enchantment cards, that's fine. So a 2/2 for 5. He's getting stuck with some bad 2/2s. So I'm going to go for 6 and get Archetype of Finality. All of my creatures have Death Touch. That's decent. I'm just going to pass the turn here. If I can keep this archetype around, then I'm in fairly good shape. If I could get any sort of pinger, it would be nice, but I don't think there's many pingers. Ooh, Aetherling. So that's going to be challenging. He can pay a blue, and that's just going to come in turn after turn after turn. I might have to Monstrosity Keepsake Gorgon to kill it. Black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do it right now. I have to take a turn off, but I think it's worth it just to get rid of that Aetherling. The Aetherling's not quite as good in this format because he can't bounce it. If he ever bounced it, it would just die. But I can't risk, 8 unblockable coming through each turn, so we're just going to need to get that out of the way. I will attack with the Living Airship here. He'll be able to untap his Golem, but then I can just block that Golem with the Airship or with the Keepsake Gorgon or with whatever, really. So he's probably going to do this. It gives him a blocker at least. But I can freely keep block with the Keepsake Gorgon, and the Gorgon would still live. So he's on 7. He gets Palincron. It's a 4/5 flyer. He can on-tap up to 7 lands. He could get another 7 drop if he wanted here. But he's not gonna. So it's a flyer. It's lots of pain. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. We meet again, but it's on my side. So it's got pro red and green. It has first strike too. First strike, death touch, lifelink. Wow. I'm in pretty good shape here. I'm in pretty good shape. As long as this can survive, and my archetype can survive, I'm in pretty good shape. Titanic Bullvox, trample 7/4? Sure, whatever. So I'm in pretty good shape here. I'm at 8, right? So no, I don't think we'll go to 9. I think we'll actually attack first with the 6/6. Taking him to 16, putting me to 25. And then we will discard an island and get Crash of Rhinos, 8/4 Death Touch Trample. Trample with Death Touch is pretty good. Might even attack in with that next turn. Having to deal just 1 damage to the creature and then the rest to the opponent is pretty good. He gets Mind Leech Mass. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may look at that player's hand. Yep, whatever. So I'm going to just go in with the Rhinos here, I think. We'll see if he knows that he has to block with a lot to prevent damage. Sure. So he's going to take 11 here. It's fine by me. Goes down to 3. Let's see what we get. We get Imperial Archangel. Flying Shroud. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to Imperial Archangel instead. Sure. So he needs a flyer here. He doesn't get it. So we have this game. So that was a good game. Really good combination with the archetype of Finality going into the Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Keepsake Gorgon was definitely a key card there. Using that ability instead of casting a creature to kill off the, what's his name, Aetherling, I think was a pretty solid play there. Otherwise, we would have been taking a lot of damage each turn. But we will submit a deck and go back in for game 3. This is definitely going a bit faster than round 2 did. I will keep. So I'm on the play, so I'm actually going to get to do a 2-drop this game here. We will go Swamp. So he is of the play a 2-drop plan. 3/3 Defender. It's not going to do much for him, unfortunately. It's going to block my 2-drop and my 3-drop maybe, but it's not going to do much else. What do we get for 2? We get a Borderland Marauder, so we can actually attack in with that next turn and kill off that Return Phalanx, I think. See what he gets for 3. He's going to have to skip a land drop at some point in order to get to 8. Oh, he's... okay. Wow. So he's skipping a creature drop here just to get in for a free 3? And then I'm just going to smash back in for another 3? Doesn't seem like the best use of his resources. So for a 3-drop, I get... a Wall of Denial. 08 Defender Flying Shroud. That's going to hold off an awful lot of things. His turn to 4-drop. He's going to get Cackling Fiend. It's a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. It's kind of a pain. I guess that means we both have to skip a turn at some point. I'll have to figure that out. I'm going to do a 4-drop here. So I get a 2/2. I can pay a life to give it +2 -1 until end of turn. Yeah. I will attack in with the Marauder, see if he blocks here. What I'll probably do is I'll skip the turn that he skips. Otherwise, I'll keep playing things. So for example, if he skips this turn, which he doesn't, just taps right out. And he gets... What on earth is that? It's an 8/8? Fusion Elemental. Jeez, Wall of Denial doesn't even block that. Oh, it's an 8/8 for 5 because it costs 1 of each color. Oh, that's bad news. Oh, where's my Death Touch? Intimidate? That's not going to do it. I guess I can double block Tangleworm, Carrion Howler, pay a life, and kill it. It's basically what I have to do. What's this going to be? 5/5. So just a 5/5 flyer. So that's fine. My wall can block that. Let's not play an island. So 6-drop. What do we get? Deadeye Navigator. So I can soul bond it with something. Exile that creature. Oh yeah. That's terrible. Not even going to bother soul bonding it. Because it basically blinks a creature that you control that's soul bonded to the Deadeye Navigator, and blinking in this format is permanent exile. So I don't really want to optionally permanently exile my creatures. So he's actually going to get to 8 without having to skip a turn. Because the Cackling Fiend was each opponent. I get it. So he gets a 5/4 Intimidate Primordial. That's pretty decent. So I can make a 7-drop here, or I can pass the turn. Ugh. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pass the turn here so that I can get my 8-drop next turn. But I might just be too far behind at that point. He's going to get in for a free 5 with that Primordial. He's going to get an 8-drop, and it's a Gigantomancer. Pay 1, target creature you control has base power and toughness 7/7 on a turn. So he can make his Primordial. Okay, he didn't attack with it. That's strange. So I will play a land to get an 8-drop. Come on, Platinum Imperium. What do I get? It's a 7/7. It's a 7/7 flying trample intimidate because it's green. And I have to pay red, green, white. Oh, I can't even pay for it. That's a shame. Well, he can block for a turn if anything happens to attack, but then he's going to go away. Otherwise, I would have had an unblockable 7/7 in the air. So he's going to get in for 5. I assume he is... If I block with the Carrion Hound, he's going to pump with the Gigantomancer, but then he'd have to drop a 7-drop, and I think I'd be okay with that. So I will pay the life here, forcing him to pay for the Gigantomancer. So that becomes a 4/1. So yeah, he is going to pay for it to make it into a 7/7. So my little rotting dog there goes away. He gets to do a 7-drop. A Samile Pilgrim. Domain. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn, where X is the number of basic land types you control. So we can tap that to prevent 5 damage to a creature, which is pretty solid. Okay, so Magic Online crashed on me there, but we are back. So unfortunately I can't pay for this guy, so I'm going to have to sacrifice him. Magic Online's running pretty slowly at the moment. I think it might actually be because I added foil lands into my deck, and despite the foils not looking that graphics intensive, they do for some reason take a lot of resources. So next time I play Momir, I need to take all those foils out of my deck. So I will play an 8-drop, and hope we can actually pull something out of this, but it's not looking good. We got Vevictus Asmati. It's a 7/7 flyer that I have to pay black, red, green to get rid of, or to keep around, which I can actually do. It does have Intimidate, but that could be blocked by the Horde Smelter. But I can block his Primordial. He could Gigantomance it and kill it, but the Primordial is going to die as well. I'm actually pretty okay with this, trading his Intimidate guy for my guy that I don't really want to pay to keep around. Oh, he can prevent damage, of course. How did I forget about that? Oh well. He simply has far too big of a board presence. I think we're just dead in this game, to be honest, unless we get something really good that sweeps the board or something. He gets Steel Leaf Paladin. First strike 4/4. Return a green or white creature you control. So he has to return a green or white creature he controls to his hand, and it's just that one. Makes sense. He kept a mana up, presumably for the Gigantomancer. I'm not going to be attacking in, though, so... 6/6 Flying Haste. I think I just come in with it. Well, no, I don't, because he can pay the mana to make his Horde Smelter a 7/7, so we're not going to do that. That Gigantomancer, one of the best 1/1s you can get here. Especially the best 1/1 for 8. So he's going to get in for 7 here. I don't have anything that can block his Primordial. So I'm going to go to 13. That puts me on a 3-turn clock. He's coming in with the dragon. I don't want... Oh, maybe he's not. Yes, he is. Oh, he's coming with everything. All right. Well, I'll block the dragon, and nothing's going to happen there. And then this 8/8, I could double block, and one of those would live. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, that damn Pilgrim. Yep, it lives. I could have triple blocked, but that's about it. Well, we are needing something. His 8-drop is Bogart and Hellkite. Flash flying. Deals 5 damage divided as you choose among creatures or players. Probably just 5 to my face. I would imagine just 5 to my face. No, he did 1 to that Deadeye Navigator. Just really wanted it out of there. But he's going to be able to come in and make almost everything he has a 7/7, which is bad news. Especially when all we have is an 8/8. So let me see. He can make that a 7/7 and I can block. I can block that and I can block that. But then we're going to be looking at a 7/7, a 7/7, a 7/7, and a 7/7. So we're dead. Maybe he doesn't realize that, but I'm sure he does. Yeah, beginning combat, he's coming in with everything. In with everything, basically. We're going to block the flyer. We're going to block that, I guess. And we're going to block that. And then we're going to take 14. And he's just making everything a 7/7, just because he can. So there we go. So that was unfortunate. That Gigantomancer was a really good pickup. It's not a card I like in any other format, really. It's a 1/1 for 8. But in this format, it's fantastic if it sticks around. So we're 1 and 2. So we have one more round left. Unfortunately, we're out of prizes. In a daily event, you do have to go 3 and 1 or 4 and 0 to win anything. But we can try to save face and go 2 and 2. So I will see you guys for round 4.